My name is Patty Bernard. I'm a member of the Nevada Women's History Project. Today is Friday, May 5th. We are in Eureka, Nevada. I am interviewing Anna McKay, also nicknamed Kitty. She is part of a grant that the Nevada Women's History Project is doing called Women of Nevada along Highway 50. Highway 50 has often been called the loneliest road in America, because years ago you could travel 300 miles approximately and pass maybe one or two cars. This is the rural area, and the Nevada Women's History Project really wanted to get into rural Nevada and talk to some of the women in the smaller towns. Kitty's son Rich came with her and might help her with some English words. I'd like to add that the John Ben Snow Memorial Trust has given the Nevada Women's History Project the grant to do this set of interviews of women along Highway 50. I noticed that you wrote a book, and that is a beautiful picture in the front piece of it. I know that you are from Germany. Can you talk a little bit about your early history?
Okay, I was born in Frankfurt Höchst, August 24th, 1929. And my mom and dad were very young. My mom, she was in what you call, I don't know, like college, but only for a year. They were landowners, and she came from Hanau, Germany. That's out in the country. And her family were well-to-do, and they sent her into what you call here college for 1 year. She was 18 years old. And she met my dad, who was working in a factory. And what happened, she got in the family way, and her people disowned her. Her family disowned her. That was very bad those days. So they lived with my dad's mother, but not in the house. Behind she had a little garden house, and they lived in there. And when I was born, they couldn't live there any longer. And my grandmother, she didn't really approve of it, so they put me in an orphanage. Yeah, in a Catholic orphanage. And I was there for 3 months. And my dad came to see me, to see how I was doing. And that's the story. I had a crooked neck, because they never moved me, I guess, and dirty knees, and he took me right then. And then my grandmother took me, and I slept in a little wash basket. That was my bed. And she raised me. My grandma ended up raising me, because as I got older, my dad and mom got married, and then my sister was born exactly a year after me. And they wanted me back, but I got sick and I, cried, and so they had to take me back to Oma. And after a while, I just stayed with Oma, and so she raised me. And she was a widow, and my Aunt Anna, that is my dad's sister, she wasn't married, she was single, and she supported us. My grandmother's name was Anna Maria Burkhardt, and I was named after her. My mom's name was Margarete Elisabeth Reuter, R-E-U-T-E-R. And my dad's name was Alois Burkhardt. And I went to school, grade school, I guess, till the age of, I think, 13 to the 8th grade. And since the war started in 1939, when I was 10 years old, I never finished the 8th grade because they bombed the school 2 weeks before I graduated. They bombed the school at night, or I wouldn't be here to talk to you. They did. We had lots of attacks. Bomb, what do you call it? Bomb. Angriffe. Don't want to talk any German. And yeah, that's happened. And then after that, that was towards the end of the war, and everything was bad. We were bombed day and night. We usually sat in the basements. And Then after that, after the Americans came over the river Main, they shot at us for about a week, and then we had a hide all the time. They came in, and they had big barricades in the streets, but their big tanks just rolled right over them. And then they came from house to house to look if we had any weapons. And we all thought maybe we were going to get killed. A lot of people did leave, and my grandmother said, we're not leaving, we're staying. And they went on the Autobahn. We had the Autobahn then. And they went their little wagons and stuff, and they shot at them. They killed a lot of them. Yeah, there was the English and the Americans, you know, it was towards the end of the war.
What was the feeling when the Americans came in, as far
I
as the
didn't
German?
like him, because my dad was killed in the war, you know. He had 5 children, and he didn't think they were going to take him, but they took him. And I remember when he left, he said he wasn't going to kill nobody, but he was on a machine gun, him and another guy. There was 2 of them on a machine gun those days, the weapons they had then. Yeah, and he got killed in just towards the end of the war. They were coming back. That's when the Americans started in the war. And where was that? In France. He was stationed in France. He was there right from the beginning, and he was wounded once. And he went to Holland, where they had a big hospital where they kept German soldiers. And he wasn't there. And I have pictures of that, and a picture of him in a bed and some Dutch people around him with children. I have that picture of him. And then after that, he came home for a month, and then he had to go again. And I remember going with him. They came by Oma's house, and it was early in the morning, and my mom, and they picked me up, so we went, and he had to go on a train. Those days, you know, so different than now. And that's the last time I saw my dad. And he got killed a day before my birthday. And all we got, because everything wasn't big, what you call that, cows? Yes. Because, you know, the war was at an end. And
So you were how old when the war ended?
I was almost 14.
Almost 14. Did you then further your education in school, or did you have to go
There
to
was
work?
no school.
So you went to
I
work?
went to work for the Americans.
You went to work for the Americans. Doing
Because
what?
they fed us. Because we were starving. We had no food. And went to work, and I got a job for me and my 2 girlfriends. And I worked at that Low Pointers Inn. That was a place where soldiers that had low points, that means they couldn't go home for a while, and they had entertainment. They had big army bands come and play that old music by Glenn Ford and those kind of music. They had dancing there. And there were WACs, you know, women, soldier, WACs, I guess you call them, and French girls and Polish girls. But naturally, us German girls couldn't. We just could work there, but we could watch, we saw it. And we made sandwiches, and they had Coke, and they also had beer. But I remember the beer was so young, just made, it had green flecks in it. But they drank it anyway, I guess. And I worked there. And then once a day at noon, I worked in the evening from 5 till 11. And we had a curfew where nobody could be on the streets, any Germans, at 9 o'clock, started at 9 o'clock at night. And then so sometimes the MP would give us girls a ride home, the German girls a ride home. And, well, what was I going to say after that?
So this was like a USO, which in American is a place
Yes,
where
yes.
Americans go for recreation
Yes.
and entertainment.
Yes, and my husband-to-be was the head of that. That's how I met him.
And how did you meet him?
Well, he asked me for a date. And he also took care of the mess hall where we got free food. Anybody that worked for for the Americans got free food, Germans. And we used to go, my girlfriends and I, and you had to bring your own dish and you had to stand in line. And there was American soldiers that cooked for us. And they had benches there and you could eat there. And every time I come, I used to hide behind Friedje, my girlfriend, because he was always looking, you know. And when I sat down, he would come over and bug me, you know. I couldn't speak much English, and he couldn't speak, you know, German. And so, yeah, after a while, he bugged him, and so I finally let him take me home.
So your attitudes towards Americans had changed?
Oh,
by
yes,
that time.
because they were not, you know, didn't kill us because, you know, we were afraid they were going to kill us. Or, well, you know, a war. It was a war right in our country. So, yeah, so that's how I met him. And yeah, and it got serious. When I was 16, I was engaged to him. And when I was 18, I married him and came to America a week later. And I left all my people. Nobody wanted me to go. But it was bad for a while. I was very homesick. But then I had to start having my family, and my mother-in-law, she was a very nice lady. She was a widow with 4 children. They had just started a dairy, remember? And it was, I think, in the 20s. And her husband, my husband's dad, I think he was only 33 when he died.
Let me take you back a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm getting all mixed up. I jumped from
No,
one
you're
to the
You're
other.
fine. So, was it easy for a war bride to come to the United States at that time, or was there quite a bit of paperwork?
No, the people were nice to me. I remember theater were in here. They used to run movies in here, you know. It was an old place. And it's so nice now, and that's where they had movies once a week. And I remember the first time I went, and during intermission, all the lights were on, and we sat up there in the balcony with my sister-in-law and my husband and my sister-in-law's husband. And everybody in that place was looking at the German war bride. I never forgot that. But people were nice to me. Yeah, they were. And my sister-in-law, Margie Hammond, she worked for Kitchen Brothers. They had the store, Chaim and Joe. And she used to run their office, and she delivered. She had a little old Model T with a flat back on it. And people would buy sacks of potato, coal, and stuff like that. And she delivered it. And she took me with her, and that's how I met people.
How did you get to Nevada?
Yeah, well, we got to Reno after I don't know how many days, and I was train sick. I didn't get sick on the boat. I came on a troop ship from Hamburg, Germany, all the way to New York. And then after that, we went by train. And it took a long time to get there, but we finally got there, and I didn't want to get out of the train because I knew there was going to be some people who came to pick us up. And it was my husband's brother and my sister-in-law and a friend of theirs. And they just had a little coupe, a little navy blue color, I remember. And I had to sit on my husband's lap all the way to Eureka. And we took off. We had something to eat, and then we took off. And I remember going to the restroom with Margie, and I didn't say a word. I was scared to talk. I remember, yeah, it was tough. But
Did you, when you came into port, did you have to go through customs? Did you go through Ellis
yes,
Island?
you know, I never saw the Statue of Liberty. It was all fogged in. And I was right on top of the boat, and I was going to take pictures of it, and it didn't. We were on that boat, and we were in the officer quarters, and there wasn't only me. There were war brides from England, from France, and Poland, and from Germany. There was about 25 of us, and we were in different quarters, because down below, they had some troops down there, and that's where our husbands had to stay with them. But they could come up on top during the day on deck, and we could, be with them, but not at night. We stayed in there. And so, yeah, we got, after, I don't know, after 9 days or so, we landed in New York. And you know, and to see all the lights, because we were always blacked out at home, you know, to see and we were going along the streets. And New York, 70 years ago, that wasn't like it is now, you know. And I bought myself some bananas. I had a bunch of bananas and I was eating them on the road. And then we went to a store to get me some, we couldn't have no clothes. I had a suit that was made out of one of my dad's old suit for me to wear to come over, because you couldn't buy no clothes. You couldn't, wooden shoes with wooden soles, that's what we wore, and cloths like that. Everybody, you could hear everybody coming, clunk, 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 yes. So it was bad.
So the stores were, I'm assuming, much larger than what you had experienced in Germany.
You couldn't buy anything. You don't have no malls or anything like
What
that.
did you feel like when you went into some of these large stores?
Well, I thought, well, we only went to that one. They had clothing, and I got a couple of dresses, and I remember I had an aqua blue with a little sign in it, and then a tied in front, and I remember the girl telling me, you can wear this also if you get pregnant. I bought it. Yeah. So
you came to Reno, which was a little bit green.
it was, God, nothing like now, you know. It was, I think there was even dirt roads 70 years ago.
And then you started driving to Eureka.
That same night. We drove all night.
What did you think when you arrived in Eureka and saw all the sagebrush?
Well, I couldn't really see. It was dark, you know. We went and we drove during the night. And we got there early in the morning, like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock. My mother-in-law came out in her robe, and Dick's brother, he wasn't married yet, he lived there, and he came out to greet me. And then, well, I was, I guess, really very tired and everything. We went to bed in that one back bedroom. We stayed there for almost a year with my mother-in-law. And I know during the day, people kept coming in and out to get a look at me. And they'd open the bedroom door and to look at us. And Dad and I would sit up in bed and talk to them. I remember that very well. But they all meant well.
And then you were a rancher's wife. What did you...
Oh, we
Was that a
homesteaded. We
surprise?
homesteaded. 2 cows. No equipment. That was his life. He loved that. He wanted to be a rancher. And so that's what we bought. The old McKay, a Snowball Ranch. We kept the name. I guess they used to have a lot of snow there. That's why. Yeah, there was a house, but it was built, I think, in 1920. And sheep herders used to be on that ranch at one time. You know, they had sheep. They didn't run cattle there, because there was a lot of bad poison and cows. We found that out, you know. They'd eat it. And what is the name of that poison bomb?
Larkspur.
Larkspur. We have that a lot of it. And they would pull it out early in the spring, and it would kill them. That's why they had sheep, because it didn't hurt the sheep. And the house, well, when he first took me out, I had Pam. I had Nancy, meanwhile. She was 6 when we bought that ranch. She was born in 1950. And I just had Pam. She was born in 1956. So I didn't go out the first year. But the house, you guys, when he took me out there, it had cloth ceilings that were hanging down, the cloth. And so filthy. There was windowsills with bacon grease that thick. That old bachelor that lived there, they had no, you know, no refrigeration or anything like that. No electricity. No water in the house. It was bad.
That must have been interesting with young children.
Yeah, with Pam. The first year I went out. She had a wash basin, and I used to give her a bath every night. I had all my water from outside by the trees. There was a well. And heated on a coal stove. Where we didn't have, you know, just wood. We burned wood. And yeah, Yeah, to clean it. I got it fairly clean. The bacon grease. I think he moved his bacon when the sun was shining on it to a place where the sun wasn't shining. And forget about it, I guess. And it was that thick. That was the worst. And there were also rattlesnakes underneath the house. And mice. And the window was broken. Yeah.
So you had young children, and then they became school age.
And then we had to move in. We bought the McNorton house. After we moved from nannies, we moved in. That used to be the, what was it, Bum? Where they used to check all the.
The office?
Yeah, and they made it into when the mines were going a long time ago, and they made it into an apartment. So we moved there. But it was not very nice. And the house next door was for sale. So we bought that. And that was the McNorton's house. And we lived in that. And then, you know, those days they didn't have no insulation or anything. That was bad too. But we had water in the house and there was electricity. So we stayed there for, well, not maybe 2 years. Little by little we built a house next door, Dad and I. And we ended up having a kitchen and a bedroom and a bathroom, because there was no bathrooms either in those houses. It was outside toilets, everybody. Out to the ranch too, and I had that for many years out there. But you get used to it, you know, but it's what it is. And I was young. And when you're young, you can take just about everything.
Then you joined the community. Did you participate in your children's school and your church?
Yeah, the church I did. Yeah, I'm Catholic. Yeah, I went to church. I did. Once I was in town. When I was not in town, we never would come in town for 3 weeks or so at a time. I didn't see anybody. That was kind of hard for me. But we had put in a great big garden. We lived over the land, and we ate deer. We couldn't eat our 2 cows, but I had a milk cow, and I had chickens, and so kind of just lived over the land. We did, and you can. It was good. My kids learned how to work, and I'm not sorry for that at all. We all had in, we all sat down to eat, you know, and everybody pitched in. So it was different life than now. Now I'm spoiled.
So when you look back at your life and your children, what are you most proud of? Here you came to a brand new country. You had to learn a new language. You raised your children. What makes you proudest as you look back around?
Well, first of all, I love this country. I really did. I became a citizen in 1950, was it 51? I was very proud of that. And I had to go in front of Judge Sexton. He came from, you ever heard of him? He was a great man. He gave me my citizenship. And after all those years, when my daughter Pam graduated, valedictorian, she got the scholarship. They had a scholarship from that family, and she got to go to Santa Clara for 4 years. So I did get that from him. And yeah, well, there was, my kids had an opportunity. He went to college too, except he didn't get a scholarship, and he took out a lot of money, but once he was out, he paid it all back, and he worked, Pam, my daughter, worked for Apple Computer for a while in California. I didn't really realize America was such a big country. You know, I thought maybe it was like Germany, you know, people don't live so far apart. Then my sister came and lived in Wisconsin. We never saw each other for 10 years after she got here. Well, I thought, well, at least I'd have enough to eat, I guess. No, I didn't, well, I was so young, I guess. I just was in love, and I didn't think I could live without him. I had to come. I left all my people for him because, you know, I never really was too sorry about it, but a little bit, you know, because I never got to see them for 33 years. I got back 33 years before I got back home to Germany.
You did go back.
Yeah, and then I went back several times after that. But then my mom was gone, my grandmother was gone, almost all of them. I never got to see them again. That was my main thing. I feel really bad about that. But I still, I got close to my husband's family, and it was a different life. It was so different than Germany, And yeah, and I love this country. I wouldn't not live over there again. The first time I went back after 33 years, they all said, "Oh, why don't you come back?" And I said, "No, you got all the pollution here now like they have in the big cities in America." So, no, I could never go back. I still have cousins. We call each other. Yeah, I talk to. But that's it. All my people are gone. All my mom's family and my dad's. By the way, I guess did I say my dad's name? Alois Burkhardt? Yeah, I did. Margarete Reuter. They called her Greta, my mom. What would you say? I just love it. It's my country now. Forget about Germany. It's not my country.
What do you like about it? I mean, what?
I love the open spaces, for one thing. I love Nevada. I really do. I like that. And I love the people. Americans are good people. I'm one of them now. I lived here so long, I'm one of them. And what else can I say, Pam? And I'm grateful for my kids being born here and having that opportunity, which they did. 2 of them went to college. Nan got married when she was 18. She followed me, I guess. And she lives in Diamond Valley. And she had 5 children. And from them I have 15 great-grandchildren.
So you've lived a good life.
I lived a good life, yes. I'm very grateful. And I never thought I would get as old as I am, but I did.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.